Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is a very special edition 2024 Toyota GR86 TRUENO edition. One of 860 to be sold here on US shores for 2024. The TRUENO edition calls back to an 84 model Corolla, celebrating 40 years of sporting history with Toyota, and it is a Spanish word that means thunder, something I think I'm going to get a lot of today as the bands of a hurricane moves through today. But in this video, I'm going to tell you if this 2024 four-cylinder powered sports coupe is worth what I paid for my 2012 special edition Camaro that was V8 powered. Yes, this thing cost $37,000. In this video, we'll examine, is it worth it? All right, TRUENO edition, thunder, hurricane coming through. It's gonna be a fun day, and I've got this and one other vehicle to shoot today, so we'll see how the day goes. But getting in behind the wheel of this thing, you won't mistake it for a Toyota Corolla or a Subaru Crosstrek by any means. And I bring up both of those because they are the brand's best sellers for the two brands that collaborated to make this possible. Yes, this is a hybrid of sorts. It is a joint venture between Toyota and Subaru, and nowhere is that more mechanically evident than under that long hood. Yes, let's address the elephant in the room. First and foremost, this is a joint effort with Subaru. So this is the Toyota-roo, or the Subayota, if you will. But in an era where nobody is really buying sports coupes anymore, this is the only way a vehicle like this would happen when two companies come together. Same with the GR Supra that was actually developed by BMW. This is the only way Toyota would actually invest in making a sports coupe for the modern era. This does remind me a lot of the golden era of rear drive, affordable Toyota vehicles and Japanese vehicles here on US shores. In fact, this feels a lot like my brother's 1984 Nissan 240SX. Small, fun, lightweight, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission. It checks all the boxes, but just here in a modern era. And yes, of course, modern regulations have just made it so expensive to make a vehicle like this. Underneath the hood, the most obvious point that it is a Subaru is this, the Boxer engine. Naturally aspirated, a 2.4 liter Boxer four-cylinder that, interestingly enough, Toyota still gets top billing on, even though it is a Subaru engine. So go figure that one out. And you can see it is mounted longitudinally the best way because, yes, this is a rear drive vehicle, sending all power to the rear wheels. That power is 228 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. Again, because this thing is naturally aspirated, which those don't really sound like big numbers, but in a lightweight rear-wheel drive sports car, it actually turns out to be pretty fun, and you don't really need a lot of power if you're not carrying a lot of weight. That 6-speed manual transmission that is connected to this makes it even more fun. And while we're under here, I can show you, we even have some structural rigidity here with these additional braces. So this is a very fun vehicle, no matter whether it's wearing a Toyota or a Subaru badge up here on the nose. We have a Toyota Subaru branded Boxer four-cylinder under the hood that does not make just gobs of power, and really the only thing that really sets it apart as a performance engine is the fact that they recommend 93 octane. Otherwise, it's your typical Subaru engine under the hood, which means it's going to be easy to repair and replace parts for it without breaking the bank, relatively speaking, because there are stories of oil starvation in this platform when it's actually taken out on the track for track use with the track button and track. But in my time with it as a daily around town, as something that I've lived with for a week, it's been so much fun. The driving characteristics of it, they're just so good. It's point and shoot, and we'll get into all that here momentarily. But what makes all of that possible is the cross collaboration between Toyota and Subaru on a small, lightweight, rear-wheel drive platform that would not have existed any other way. And that leads to a very unique exterior design and proportions. Let's talk about the styling of this one, because there is a lot that really makes this one stand out as one of 860 to be made here in the US in this Trueno edition, which of course, as I mentioned in the intro, harkens back to a 1984 Corolla Special Edition that really started the performance Toyota craze here in the US. Trueno, of course, means thunder, which I think you can attribute to the sound of the rear exhaust. They really want you to know that this thing is a special edition. Not only do we get the matte black hood graphics, which also call back to that 1984 Corolla, but we get this special Trueno edition right here on the chin itself. So leading the charge is a special edition badge. As we pull out, this is based on the top premium trim, so you get all the luxuries and everything that you would expect with that top model. We do have LED headlights, LED running lights, LED turn signals, LED all the things on this one. I really like the design of this. I think this is peak affordable, air quotes, Toyota coupe styling, even though, yes, I know this was co-designed with Subaru. I think this looks better than the Subaru that it shares a platform with, that of course being the BRZ. I really appreciate the subtle styling of this. It works in all the right ways. I think this looks even better than the more powerful, more expensive GR Supra. I really think this is one of the coolest sports cars on the road. And part of that, yes, does go back down to that price, which at $37,000 is a little pricey, especially compared to, again, as I mentioned in the intro, I bought a 2012 45th anniversary Camaro SS with over 400 horsepower from a V8 under the hood for the same as this is going here in 2012. Inflation, man, it's just buzzkill. As we come down to the wheels and tires, you can see we've got these very cool black wheels. Again, these are the same wheels that come on the top trim, non-special edition Trueno, so no special wheels, so to speak of, but you can see they are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. So that really does tell you the intention of the vehicle. And then, of course, we've got the Brembo brakes back behind them. Also back behind them is a special suspension in this one. We get SACHS dampers in this, both front and rear. Those are unique to this Trueno edition, but can be optioned on other trims of this, so that you don't have to get the special edition. You don't have to have all the graphics. You can get a quote standard GR86 and still get the dampers and most of what you get here in the Trueno edition. I don't think I told you the size on the tires, but they are 215/40 R18 Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer tires. So again, just telling you the intention of this vehicle from the get-go. As we come to the side, again, really calling out that this is a special edition. You get the black graphics that call back to the 80s. And then you have to look very closely, especially since I've gotten it dirty, but we've got this very cool TRUENO edition gloss area on this matte black graphic down the side. Then we get the black mirror caps, black door handles, black rear wing, rear ducktail spoiler on this. Really sets this one off. I can also tell you that there are only 2 colors that you can get the TRUENO edition in. That would be this race bred red color and a white. So red or white with the black graphics, again, just so you get all that contrast. Love the sloping rear roof on this. Really does give it a sporty fastback look, even though we have a traditional trunk in this and we do have a back seat. As we come around to the back, you can see that very large ducktail spoiler on this one that is part of the top trim. And then we get all our LED lights back here, brake lights, turn signals, backup lights, all the things. And then a catback exhaust on this that is also black on the TRUENO edition. It just really, really sets off the look back here and lets anyone around you know that, yeah, you've got something a little bit special. We get one more special edition badge back here on the back. You get your GR86 badging right there, and you can get into the rather tidy trunk with a push of that button right there. 6.9 cubic feet. So it is on the small side, but it is a small, fun to drive car. That's not why you're buying this vehicle, for trunk space. You can expand the trunk space because the entire back seat does fold down, but you have to do that very carefully from the inside. It's a tricky proposition. More TRUENO edition specialties here. We get this all-weather trunk mat that goes with the all-weather floor mats inside, and I really like GR86. Again, the name of this vehicle in general reminds you, well, yes, we're approaching 40 years of fun, sporty to drive, because 86 may reference a certain year that, yeah, we're all approaching 40, apparently. Outside, very tight, compact styling. This fits in my garage so nicely and so easily. I can just whip up my steep driveway, hit that 90-degree turn at the top of the hill, and park it in my single bay garage door so nicely and so easily. It fits everywhere I want to put it. Parking spaces, in traffic. This thing has me driving, well, not like the most studious driver in the entire world. Kind of brings out your jerk driving characteristics. I blame part of that on the catback exhaust, part of that on the 6-speed transmission, part of that on it being a red sports car, and part of it being just so fun and easy to pilot and put wherever I want to. Sitting here in the driver's seat, you really feel confident because, well, there isn't much vehicle around you. You can see all the corners around you. And, well, let's get into the interior just a bit. I do want to show you the key. This one does have the special sock, I think is what they call it, but you can see we've got lock, unlock, hatch release, panic button, and you can deploy a physical key. If it were not in this leather sock that has this weird little loop on it, it would look exactly like the Subaru key on which it is shared, and perhaps that's why they gave me this special edition leather sock for it, just to hide the fact that this is really a Subaru key. Doesn't matter, you don't need it because it is a proximity key. You can simply leave it in your pocket and come up to the vehicle. We do have proximity key, so you can lock by pressing there, unlock just by tapping on the back of the door handle, and then you can get in like so. This being based on the top trim, we get the ultra suede inserts all the way around on this. It's screaming at me because I left the headlights on. Go ahead and turn that off. But yes, ultra suede on the door. We get some red accents right here, which I really like. Works very well with the race bred paint. And then little bit of storage on the door, cup holder in the door. We'll talk about why here in just a moment. Express up down for both your windows. You do have a window lockout, even though you really can reach that other window right from here. So you just smack whoever's trying to roll it down. These seats are oh so comfortable and oh so supportive. They are race bucket seats. You can see we've got the red leather and black ultra suede with a little bit of black leather going down here as well. They are very comfortable. Again, very supportive, but they are completely manually adjustable. So you have your manual height, your recline, and your sliding adjustments. There you can see we get our TRUENO edition, special edition all-weather floor mats in this one, which does echo again to the back. We'll talk about the back here in just a moment. Oh, and before I climb in, yes, we do get this special edition badge, letting you know this is up to, or one of 860 units produced for the US market. Climbing in and sitting down, we'll go ahead and turn the hazards off. Closing the door, well, we'll grab onto that and give it a pull. Then, because we do have 3 pedals, put my foot on the brake, on the clutch, and push the button to fire it up. Give this fun little GR graphic that spins into life. And you can see we do have a digital gauge cluster. It is actually 2 screens. We've got a small little screen right here and a larger, I believe it's 7-inch screen, though most of it is covered up to kind of give it that symmetrical look all the way across. It works for me. I like it a lot. We'll go ahead and talk about this button right here, track mode. You push the track mode button and hold it, and that completely switches the gauge cluster to have this linear tack and much smaller speedometer on it. Again, more track focused, and you can see right there that little orange light. Yes, traction control is in fact turned off, but we're gonna turn that back to normal. It is slightly customizable. You can go through a few different screens on this, but yeah, it's about what you see is what you get. Get your trip computer down here and this little green light telling you that we do have hill start assist, which is a nice touch. Coming over my left knee, we've got brightness for the gauge cluster and your trunk release. Nothing else because there really isn't much room for anything else. I like the round pods for the AC vents on the outside. You get a trip reset button right here, all your light controls on the stock right here, but you can see it doesn't like stay clicked down. It goes back to its middle position. That is a Subaru thing, so it is a slight frustration, especially if you are very used to Toyota vehicles. You can tell that's not a typical Toyota thing. Neither is the steering wheel. This is a Subaru steering wheel with the Toyota badge, but you can see we've got all of our radio controls here, our driver assistance, and all the different things you can page through here on the side up there. So again, it does everything you would want, but it's not a Toyota steering wheel. Speaking of not a Toyota head unit. This is a Subaru head unit with Subaru graphics on it. It's a Subaru. It's a Toyota-ru. This does have wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It works fairly well, but you can see there are no pages to swipe through. This is all we've got right there. I can add a shortcut if I wanted to, but it works fairly quickly and does have a Sirius XM on it, so that's pretty cool. Dual zone climate controls, although this vehicle is small enough that dual zone may be overkill, but it's here and it's automatic, so I can put it in auto mode right there, and it'll take care of fan speed and everything else. A few different controls here for the HVAC, and then more kind of toggle switches down here, which is really cool, next to the GR start button. Then we have our 6-speed manual transmission. The gating on it is so good. It's not rubbery at all. You know exactly when it's in gear, where it's in gear, everything. It is very communicative. I like it a lot. And then we get this special TRUENO edition cover on top, just to help set it off a little bit, but oh so good. And yes, reverse requires you to do that little number. As I put it in reverse, you can see we do have the federally mandated backup camera with trajectory. It does pretty good, but the visibility in this vehicle is actually surprisingly good with the very low backrest back there and the very large back window. So that is that. Very interesting, the design over here. This is hollow and scratchy black plastic. It's not the best look, but we do get a rubberized dash. But yeah, this is interesting. I don't know what the packaging is like behind this, but this is like, it jets out. It's the most odd bit of the interior for me. It does house the nicely sized glove box for just how small and tight this vehicle is. Then you can see we do have another cup holder in that door over there. The cup holders are there because, well, there really isn't a lot of space here. We have our 2-position heated front seats. They are switches, so yes, of course, they remember exactly where you left them the last time you were in the vehicle because they are physical switches. Traction control button here, track button right there. Poverty blank here. Very interesting. Not quite sure what that is meant for. And then we get a traditional handbrake. Hallelujah. The seats, again, so very comfortable, but perhaps a little bit better look at them being down on their level. We do have a center console of sorts, but that's where the rear seat cup holders are. You can see it is split opening. But yeah, it's the center console, it's cup holders. It's also where the USB-A and USB-C ports are. Actually, they are 2 USB-A ports, sorry, and the auxiliary port for your audio. So 2 USB-A ports, both interface with the screen, and then your auxiliary audio port right there. But yes, under a padded dual opening center console, but when you close one, you close the other, so it kind of defeats the purpose other than for space, because you don't want to have a giant lid open up, because then your rear passengers couldn't get to their cups, I guess. So yeah, design for design's sake. And then coming to the interior, whew, I'm 5'10", I just fit in this. I know I've got some taller friends that say they do, and some taller friends that say that they don't fit in this. So you really have to do your seat time in it to know if you fit. Again, manually adjustable seat, so you can raise and lower it, but it is a tight fit and makes getting in and out interesting for me as I approach 40 years old. But you can see I've got plenty of room up here, but you may have noticed from how close we are to the back seat doesn't exactly have plenty of room. We're actually, yeah, gonna torture myself. I'm gonna record me trying to climb out and trying to climb back in to the back seat. I will note we do have this little strap here for holding the seatbelt in place. Manually sliding seats, both front and rear. And let's see, why are you not sliding forward? Oh my goodness. So for whatever reason, this does not want to go any further, but it will manually slide forward. There we go. And that makes it a little bit easier to get into the back seat. You can see we've got a little butt pocket. It is a 2+2 vehicle. You can see Tucker's not even riding in his normal child seat. We had one of these a year ago, and he did, but I wasn't torturing anybody this time around. And then, yeah, let's just go ahead and climb in. You want to see me do it? Because there, I'm in. And then there's no place to put my head because there's a window here. So this back seat is not made for adults. In fact, it's barely made for Tucker. With his booster seat, his head actually hits the backrest, which is actually the headrest. So very interesting. This just lets you know these back seats are not made for adults. They're made for children, and maybe even in a pinch, not even that. I don't know. Very tight back seats back here, but be sure and hit subscribe so you can see our family review. Holly does not drive this one, little spoiler alert, because of that 6-speed manual. But yes, be sure and check out our family review to get the full family's take on this. But let me get back in that seat. Oh, oi. Now we can talk about what it's been like living with in city traffic. I've run errands in this. I've taken Tucker around in this. We've already talked about how much or how little space he has back there. And in fact, when it's just he and I have the seat scooted all the way forward, and then visibility is meh at best. But it is a fun vehicle to zip around town because it is so small and it is so zippy. I can put it wherever I want it, and I feel confident in doing so. Again, I can see the front corners. I can see the back. The ducktail spoiler is visible through my back window. I have no headrests back there obstructing my view. It's actually a very good sports car for seeing out of. There are some things that you might think are shortcomings or sacrifices in order to make this a fun sports car that would make it unbearable in daily life that really just aren't here. Namely, like a heavy clutch. The clutch on this one is good. It's well weighted. You know exactly where the engagement point is, and you can very easily row through the 6 gears, whether you're pulling hard to accelerate and pass somebody out on the track, or maybe you're just zipping through traffic, running your daily errands. It is a very livable car, and as you can see from this camera angle, visibility out of it is fairly good too. I can see all the way around me without much problem. No headrests back there in the back window obstructing my view, etc., etc. It is a very good car to live with and to pilot around in town and zip around in town. And I think the 6-speed manual just makes that even more fun because you can very easily put it in the gear that you want and get around slower traffic around you. There aren't a lot of sacrifices outside of ingress, egress. Once you get in this, it is a very good vehicle to be in and to pilot around. And then getting into that transmission and that engine, it is very fun and very peppy. 184 pound-feet of torque. Doesn't sound like a lot of power, but in this lightweight rear-wheel drive vehicle, it actually is, and will put a smile on your face in most situations. Could it have more power? Yes. Could they have turbocharged it? Yes. But in the absence of a turbocharger, in the absence of all the nannies that modern vehicles have, it's actually more fun because of it, in spite of not having all of that stuff. And it just makes this good, linear, and predictable. I am headed to my favorite driving roads, but apparently so is Hurricane Barrel. So there is only so much I can do in this one. You're just gonna have to trust me that for a majority of my time in this, it has been a good driver's car. It is a sports car when you get on rough pavement, but it is also a sports car when you get on to curvy pavement. This thing is so good for carving corners. Oh my goodness, this is in its happiest, and I am in my happiest when I am on curvy roads. This is just so much fun. It is not a drag car, though. We'll see exactly what it can do from a stop here. Ready, set, and go. Rear drive. Yep, it will lose traction as you row through the gears, even with those performance summer tires. But yes, of course, it's raining. It's not ideal conditions out here. But yes, performance tires, Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. Those are legit tires for legit driving. Again, showing the intention that the engineers had with this vehicle. They really want it to be driven. Being a GR vehicle, you do get 1 year of a NASA membership and a high-performance driving experience when you buy one of these. So there are some perks to buying one of these and owning one versus just getting to spend a week with one, as I do in these situations. As I turn onto my favorite driving roads back here, we are on highly textured pavement, which will help those performance summer tires do what they are intended to do, but also accentuates one of the shortcomings of this vehicle, and that is noise. To keep the weight down in this vehicle, there isn't a lot of sound deadening and a lot of noise from the road, from the wind, from the outside is translated here inside. You are still capable of holding a conversation, even with the cat pack exhaust, even at full speed in this thing, even on highly textured pavement like this. But again, you won't mistake this for any other Toyota or Subaru. It is noisy on the inside. I don't know what is more noisy, the road noise or the cat pack exhaust during acceleration. Cruising at speed, it kind of disappears into the background. You don't really notice it. But under acceleration, or when you start it up when the rest of your family is asleep in the house, it definitely makes itself known. So there are, again, some trade-offs to this being a fun, loud, both visually and audibly experienced sports car. But then again, when you get it into its element, oh, it is very good. This is not me. This is not what I do. Over 7,000 RPM redline, this thing will pull all the way to it. You really do have to rev it out. These naturally aspirated 4-cylinders kind of beg to be thrashed and pushed to the redline like that. This car absolutely puts a smile on your face. How you can drive this car with a frown is beyond me. It is just so much fun. And in fact, the last time we had one of these, we did have an automatic equipped version, of course, not the special edition, but Holly was able to put more miles on it than I was, and I had a hard time actually prying it away from her. So really leads me to believe what our family review will reveal about her feelings here with this one. I am just a little bit sad that my time here also coincides with a hurricane tropical storm finding its way into the area. So I'm not going to push this one too far. I am on a public road still, and there are deer that are known to pop out. And with it being abnormally cool by about 20 degrees because of said storm, I can imagine that the deer are going to be out and about in today's weather. So I'm not going to go crazy, but suffice it to say, this absolutely is a good sports car. The tuning, the turn-in, the Brembo brakes, all of it is put together so well. And that really gets down to the heart of why Toyota and Subaru had to partner to make this happen. Why is this a partnership? Why are 2 of the 3 GR performance vehicles from Toyota a collaboration with other brands? And that's because, well, not enough of you are buying vehicles like this anymore. The return on investment to make a dialed-in sports car like this just doesn't exist like it did in the heyday of these brands in the 80s and the 90s. You just are not buying these enough to justify manufacturers putting the time, energy, and money into producing these at the same scale that they did back in their heyday. In order to get the special dampers, the race-tuned suspension all the way around, the rear drive platform from 2 brands that don't specialize in rear drive vehicles, and to get just this excellent 6-speed transmission and all the other goodies that make this a great total package, well, Toyota, yes, Toyota, one of the largest auto manufacturers in the world, felt that they needed to go to another automaker to help offset the costs. And that just tells you where we are in the world of performance vehicles. It's not what it once was, but the end result kind of is what it once was, maybe even better. This is perhaps one of the best driving cars for the price here in 2024. And yes, I bring price back into the equation because when I bought my V8 powered 426 horsepower rear wheel drive 6-speed manual special edition 45th anniversary Camaro SS back in 2012, it stickered for the same price as this 4-cylinder and had a whole lot more luxury than this Toyota Subaru combination does. And that is another thing. Inflation has just ruined the affordable sports car market. It is just so interesting to me what you are able to get in 2024 for what I was able to get in 2012. It is still affordable by modern standards, but me, aging, approaching 40, there's just so much about this car that makes me question life in the modern era. Back in my day, you could get 8 cylinders for the price of 4. Back in my day, you could get a vehicle that was a little easier to get in and out of, yada, 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 all that fun stuff. But there you have it. This truly is a fun, exciting, great vehicle to experience on curvy roads, zipping through traffic, whatever the case may be. Maybe not in hurricane situations, but that is what we are saddled with here today. If you want to see more from us here on the channel, hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified every time a future video drops from us, including our family review where Holly will be riding shotgun and Tucker will be in the back seat. You'll see how this vehicle fits our family of 3. Can also find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it, everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in the 2024 Trueno Edition GR86, until next time, gearheads, bye. Can I take this opportunity as I'm driving around in traffic to tell you just how much I hate shift lights that tell you when to upshift when they don't really know anything about what you are about to do or your intended path ahead of you. They just get in the way. They're constantly there telling you, hey, you might want to upshift, not knowing that you're about to jam the throttle and you might actually want to downshift. Let's just get away with shift lights. If you don't know when to upshift based on the situation around you, maybe get an automatic. There are plenty of clues as to when you should upshift and downshift. You don't need a little tiny light in the gauge cluster reminding you, hey, upshift.